Fast forward, week, boom, I just put up 10,000 subscribers. I got my first brand deal. The channel's popping. This video's already got 1 million views. And that really changed my whole career as far as influencing goes.
What's up, everybody? Talking Trash Podcast. Oh, my goodness. Do we have a special in-studio guest? And guys, we've talked about him before in the past on previous episodes. He is arguably the most hated goalie in hockey, arguably the most hated player in hockey. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. Our boy, Mr. Travis Rigden. What's going on, big guy?
Thank you very much for having me, dude. I got to give a shout out to AJ first off, though. I've been in town for 2 days. This guy rolled the red carpet. He said, bro, I got you covered. You're going to come to my gym and train. I'm going to take you to my restaurant. I got you covered with your accommodations. We went to Starbucks today. We should start things off with this. I said, we got to go get our caffeine fixed because I'm addicted. And we pull up. AJ's like, I got it covered. And I'm thinking in my mind, no. I got the Starbucks reward points. I'm going to scan the thing so he won't pay for it. Because he doesn't go to Starbucks. He doesn't know about this. And we got him his first pumpkin spice latte, the bad boys of hockey.
Well, I was going to start off, you beat me to it, okay? And again, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, and make sure we're going to put the link in the description. Make sure you like and subscribe to Travis's podcast, Slangin' the Biscuit. We're going to talk a little bit about that later, but Travis, you are definitely a caffeine addict. Would you say that? Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, functioning addict.
So yes, you came to the gym today, Chance Boxing Club. We were talking. It's the first time we saw each other in person. You're a lot taller than I expected. So you're like a gentle giant, right? Is that what you would say?
Yeah, I get that a lot. I was explaining to you in the car right here, but because I use wide angle camera lenses for my videos, so it pulls it out a little bit more. It doesn't have that tall emphasis, but whenever I use a DSLR camera, it looks to scale. Yeah. So that's the number one feedback I always get is, I didn't think you were so tall.
So we're coming to the studio here, and you said, hey, let's stop at Starbucks. I said, all right, you're the guest, and we got to give you whatever you want. And you said, have you ever had a pumpkin spice latte? Is that what it's called? Correct. And I said, no. My wife, Kim, love you, Kim, is a big Starby girl. She's a Starby girl, and I don't drink coffee. I'm as you know, a C4 energy drink type of guy. Never really drink coffee. You put me on the spot, and you got the gift of the gab. You somehow got me to agree to it. And like you said, nothing says bad boy of hockey like drinking a pumpkin spice latte outside here in Danbury on North Street. And I got to say, it wasn't bad. I won't give it 2 thumbs up, but I'll give it a thumbs up. But I didn't end up drinking 3/4 of it. So I was only going to do a sip. So shout out to Mr. the most hated guy in the world in hockey for some reason, got me to drink a pumpkin spice latte. So thank you for that. It opened a whole new world for me. I appreciate that.
AJ's capping. He had his first sip. He said, this is okay. He had a couple more sips, and 5 minutes later, he's like, you know what? This is great. This is really good, actually.
I don't know if I said great, but it was okay. It was enough for me to drink it.
I got the tape.
And listen, we come to the studio and you have another coffee as you're drinking it as we speak. You got a Celsius over there. You obviously have a strong heart because that caffeine is pumping. And you said you drink coffee before bed. Is that true?
Yep. Full caffeine before bed. 20 minutes before bed will knock me right out.
You are an absolute maniac. Shout out to the Caffeine Man right here. That is unbelievable. Before we go on, I gotta give a shout out, and you know about them. Our boys from SOFLO, okay, just completed their 2024 summer season. We had our boy Cole Codsey and Mark Cherametta on an episode a few months back. Make sure you guys check it out in the library there. But I got to give a shout out. He's a bad boy. Nico Blashman, okay? He's on the Iowa Heartlanders, I believe, in the coast. Hold on, let me get the shot. I'm wearing his. This is the team that won it all in SOFLO. I guess Team White, I guess we'll call them. Okay, Team White. They sent me a jersey. These jerseys are sick, man.
That's a beautiful
I can
jersey.
see you in SOFLO one day. I feel like you'd be tailor-made for SOFLO next summer, maybe.
I don't know what SOFLO is, but that's a beautiful jersey. I like the Orlando Solar Bears colors. The purple,
listen,
orange.
SOFLO, so basically it's a summer league 3-on-3. They got an awesome little rink down there, one of those smaller sheets, and they have they had like 4. They're growing. We had them on the podcast a few episodes ago, and it's one of these things these kids created for the offseason. It's growing. I mean, they had some NHL guys there, I think, and they do a lot with content now. I think you guys, we got to get Travis into SOFLO next year, and it's goalies. It's a little tougher to get goalies for that type of league. So I think you'd be a first-round goalie pick down there. I think we got to get you down to Florida next summer, okay?
Do love Florida.
I know you have a real agent, but I don't mind being your SOFLO agent, okay? And listen, Nico, Mark and Cole, we gotta get the big man down there. You'd probably be the tallest goalie in that league, I think. So,
Yep. I mean, you're getting the best goal in women's pro hockey coming down to SOFLO.
Oh, so you want to get right into it, okay, Mr. Travis Rigden. So, to bring it back, when we got to know each other, we've connected over social media over the past maybe year or so, and we've talked. You've always been a great guy. We've always had a good rapport. I've started following you. I truly enjoy your content. I love your content. I love your podcast with Dave, correct? Dave. And you guys got to check it out. Check the link in the description, Slang and the Biscuit. And, what I've always said is I've always been drawn to controversial figures. And for some reason, we've said it, Ames says it too, for some reason, you have just become this controversial I think it's more love to be hated, but people just love to hate you. And I said this on a few episodes ago. Why do you think that is? Because you're a great guy. You got me to drink a pumpkin spice latte. You talked me into it. You got a great smile. You belong on a Crest commercial. I mean, what is it about you that seems to rub people the wrong way? Is it because you're a goalie? Because I know goalies are a little off a little bit. That's the MO. Well, what is it about you that seems to rub people the wrong way, you think?
First off, I don't know if drinking pumpkin spice lattes is necessarily the benchmark for being a good guy. Like, everybody that pulls up and turns up to Starbucks and gets a grande pumpkin spice latte is a good I don't know if that's necessarily how it works, but I like the train of thought. We were talking about on the drive here. I've always felt like I'm nothing special in the grand reality of things. Right? Like, I'm a big guy. I'm a 6'5" goaltender, which obviously helps. My career would be significantly further behind if I was 5'9", 5'10". But I'm just an average dude that comes from Winnipeg. Most people don't even know where Winnipeg is on the map in Manitoba, Canada. I just worked hard, and I just didn't take no for an answer and kept going. Said, I like this. Okay, well, you say no. Well, I'll just go to the next door, and eventually the door will open, right? And that's literally the formula to success, if you want to call it that. And I think a lot of people see that, and they get pissed off because there's a lot of guys that I played hockey with growing up that were better than me, had better opportunities than me, but for some reason they see this and they get super pissed off because, well, I was better than him for a very long time, but now I'm working a job that I hate, working 9 to 5, and this isn't. I always wanted to play hockey, but I'm not doing that. And then here's this guy with his podcast. He's laughing, he's smiling, he's good looking, charming, sexy, all this great stuff. Very humble as well. And I want to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I was in Watertown last year, one of the guys on the team, this guy hated me more than anybody else on the team, but it slipped out of his mouth a couple of times. He was like, "Man, I wish I could do what you do, man. Just doing the podcast is cool, and like making videos at practice is cool." And then him and I got into a big argument one day. He's like, "Why don't you go make another pad save, Trav? I hate your videos." Well, that wasn't what you were saying the other day. Do you want me to tell everybody what you were saying the other day? Because you're full of shit, right? At the end of the day, I also don't care.
Yeah.
And I think that when people see that you don't care, it angers them because they want you to care. And if somebody's below me in the pecking order telling me, hey, because think about it, right? Like, hate only comes from below you on the ladder.
Yes.
And if somebody's, like, nobody gets jealous of a loser. And if somebody's upset saying, hey, you suck, you're terrible, et cetera, like, I don't care what you have to say.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Well, I think we've talked, we only talked for about an hour and a half before we came here to record, and we touched on a lot of stuff, and I think we come from I think people hate, like you said, what they can't do or don't have the confidence or the ability to do. And we live in a world today, and we touched on this at the gym, where you got to put yourself out there, right? You have to. I mean, we discussed this a little bit in my office, and I said, I come from the world, when I grew up, I was around a lot of older guys, old school guys, and other things, and it was, you're not supposed to be on TV, you're not supposed to be putting yourself, what people say, putting yourself out there. Now we're in a generation where if you're not out there, it's like you're not even alive, right? And I think and we talked about it, I think it was 2017, you started pumping some content out, right? You kind of were one of the first guys in hockey kind of really putting themselves out there, you know what I mean? And I think it was a genius move. And you want to talk a little bit about, I think, the Kings tryout, and I think maybe that was kind of like the spark you needed to, like, kind of, get your journey going,
Yeah, it took a bunch of different pathways, because originally it started with, I was making goalie montages of my favorite NHL goalies, because because I was trying to make these videos online, or trying to make these videos that I couldn't find online, because I never found that videos had the right highlights of the goalies that I liked and the right music. So I said, I'll just do it myself. So I started doing it myself. But this is also like 10, 12 years ago, where my parents' computer was like 40 gigabyte hard drive. And obviously you're editing those videos, it fills up fast.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, where can I store them? Well, I'm 15, 14, I don't have money for a hard drive.
Yeah.
So I'll just put them on YouTube. That could be my storage device. So I started throwing them up on YouTube, and then fast forward 3 years, get like 7,000, 8,000 subscribers. And I thought, okay, this is going well, but this isn't something I'm proud of. What can I actually do? Because I like making videos. And I thought, I became a goalie when I was 10. My dad had no prior knowledge of being a goalie or any expertise on goaltending or like how to find the right equipment. And I thought, we learned everything firsthand. What if I was that voice to help somebody else out there? Because I was also trying to find equipment reviews for myself, like what stick should I buy, what pads should I buy, and I could never find what I wanted. And I thought, well, there's no reviewers out there, so I'll do it. So anything I can get my hands on, whether it was stick tape, a stick, a glove, a block, you name it, if I can get my hands on it, I make a video on it. And it started with just putting my voice behind it, and then putting on ice action clips, and then putting my face behind it, and then putting some mic'd up stuff, and the mic'd up stuff really took off.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to 2017, where I ended up winning that contest to go try out for the LA Kings. That video really put it over the edge and exploded, where I put up, I think it felt like 10,000 subscribers in a couple days.
What contest was that you won for that?
So it was basically, so the NHL had gone through the previous season where I think both goalies had gone down for the Kings, Devils, and the Panthers. So we need to have an e-bug just in case something happens. And the Kings decided, let's turn it into a contest. So apply online, give us a reason why we should pick you, and we'll pick 30 guys to come on down. And I think I put something along the lines of, like, this would be a sweet Tinder profile picture if I can come out for a trial with the Kings jersey, like flow slick back, kind of winking to the camera. And they picked me, and I got an email back. And first I thought it was a friend kind of like messing with me. Congratulations, this is Luke Robitaille, come on down for the tryout. I'm like, this isn't real.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing a bunch of the mainstream media was posting, this guy is getting invited, this lady from ESPN's invited, this person's invited. And I thought, well, I guess I'm coming. So I sent an email back, yep, this is the real deal. We're not covering any expenses. Come on down. So I ended up booking a last-minute flight. I remember I'm sitting at the Winnipeg airport thinking I just spent $1,000 in 2017 for a last-minute flight to LA just to go skate with some of the Kings staff and have them shoot on me for a video. Like, what a waste of money and time this is. But fast forward, a week, boom, I just put up 10,000 subscribers. I got my first brand deal. The channel's popping. This video's already got 1 million views. And that really changed my whole career as far as influencing goes. And then it kind of shuffled down to when I went to Sweden during the scamdemic. That was interesting.
Allegedly.
I mean, nobody was playing hockey at that point in time. And so I'm going over to Sweden. I'm playing hockey. I'm documenting it in a time where everybody's sitting at home scared in their basement.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was really like the only thing you could watch at that point in time. And that really helped with the channel growth. And then fast forward to 2022, and I went to the Fed in Motor City, and that was another big moment where things really took off. And the podcast has kind of gone along with it. And that's kind of where we're at today.
Listen, you know a little bit about me, obviously, which I'm shocked that you haven't seen. You are refreshing in a lot of areas. And one of the things I love about Travis is one of the first things you told me today was, AJ, I gotta admit, I've never sat and watched Untold Crime and Penalties, the Trasher documentary. Probably the only reason why I have a podcast is because of this documentary. I love the fact that you never watched it. That's one of my favorite things about you. But if you do watch it one day, one of the things was I was always a wrestling fan. I was always a promoter at heart. And when we had this team, we were basically essentially trying to create a heel wrestler, a bad guy wrestler as a hockey team. And everywhere we went, we were the most booed, the most hated. What I love about you is, in my opinion, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, I'm telling you, you are a team's dream because you do have a huge reach, okay? Whether people like you or don't like you, they're subscribed to you, they're watching you, they're checking your clips out. To me, it's a no-brainer for a Travis Rigden to be on your team, okay? Unless you're a bad teammate that I don't know about, I've never dealt with you, I don't get that impression from you. But other than that, it's crazy to me that you've only had a very small stint right now in the Federal Hockey League. I know you bounce a few teams and stuff. I know you have your reasons why you think it's that way. It's all allegedly stuff. We don't have to get into it. I don't think your time is done in the Fed or even further on. Life just takes us in twists and turns. But to me, if I'm running a team, okay, like if this was like if we had the Trashers in 2024, things would be so much different, obviously. But I got you number one on my list to bring in at least for a tryout because it's like what you bring to the table. listen, leagues like the Federal Hockey League, and quite frankly, even the East Coast League, not everyone's going to make it to the NHL. You have to, and we've talked about this, me, Ames, a lot of guests. Dude, there has to be an entertainment factor, right? There has to be something other than we want to win a game, we want to win the title, we want our guys to move up. There's got to be something more than that, right? And I've always felt like, when we were in the United Hockey League, it was like, AA baseball, right? I mean, it was a couple rungs down, but the reality was it was supposed to be entertaining. You want to get behind guys, whether you like them. Dude, let me tell you something. Our first year of the Trashers, we played Elmira Jackals was a rival of ours. They had a guy, number 20, Jamie Thompson, okay? Small guy, was a rat out there. Those type of guys. When the lights were brightest, when he came to Danbury, he was one of 3 guys that ever came to Danbury that was never scared, okay? And 2 of those 3 that were never scared, I ended up trading for them because I love them. And I said, if they could do that when we're their enemy, what can they do when they... And Jamie Thompson, he used to have a fro. With his helmet, his hair would come out the sides. And he looked like Krusty the Clown from Simpsons. So he got dubbed Krusty. We'd put him on the board, Krusty the Clown, the fan section 102, forget it. But I said, I love that guy. I hate him, but I love him. I need him on the team. I remember the last time we played Elmira, their first season, warm-ups, he's no bucket, his flow, his fro is going in the wind, he's skating. I remember my dad's like, we want him, right? I said, yep. I never forget, my dad got his attention, and he pulled his wallet out, and he just shook it at him, like, we want you, we're coming. And I remember Jamie Thompson, he had a smile on his face, and he ended up the next year coming. But when we signed him, he was the most hated, one of the most hated guys, okay? He was probably 2 or 3 that first year. Everyone in Danbury hated him. When we signed him, he was the number 1 jersey we sold, Jamie Thompson. I mean, you to me are a dream for a GM or a coach, okay? Because you bring so much, and like in 2024, Trav, let's be honest, there's got to be more than just, hey, we score, we put our head down, we score, we win, we want to win the Commissioner's Cup. Like, don't you think there's more to it? Like, or am I just a fossil now? You know what I mean? I just feel like there's got to be some entertainment factor to this.
Well, there's an entertainment factor, but also, like, what are you adding to the room? And this is something I don't see anybody talk about. Let's use my time in Motor City as the example, but no matter what, you're never going to win everybody over, right? So anybody trying to please everybody, you're fighting a losing battle. But in Motor City, of the 20, 22 guys we had, 15 to 18 of the guys absolutely loved me because I was always trying to do something to endear myself to my teammates. If we decided as a team we're going to go to Starbucks, it's 5 or 6 guys, I will make sure I'm at the front of the line so I can cover the bill for everybody. The guys see that and they say, wow, that's really nice of Trav.
Yeah.
Okay, you get a positive taste in your mouth. And then we kind of build on that at the rink. Trav's always doing stuff for different guys within the team, or how can he add more value to us and fill our cup?
Yeah.
Well, when he gets his opportunity, man, I want to fill that guy's cup up and building that morale within the team. And a lot of people don't look at it from that way. And also, because not as many eyeballs are on the Fed as what it could be, or whatever league I'm going to, when I come in, and let's say Elias Thompson, big sexy in Motor City, when he's in every single video flaunting his muscles and I'm documenting it and he's popping off online, he loves that. And the team sees that and said, well, if Big Sexy's popping off, maybe I can pop off a bit too. And then the guys start having more personality, you start taking your cameras.
Isn't it funny? Because when I was involved with hockey, it was 20-something years ago. And back then, it was even more old school than it is now. But isn't it funny? Because what I've learned from the guys was, hockey, there's that gruff exterior. Everyone's supposed to, be a robot almost, right? But deep down, everybody kind of likes it. They like the shine, especially nowadays. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. Everybody loves to be in the limelight, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's true. What I like about you is I know the difference between guys that are for themselves and they're putting themselves, and then guys that are using their platforms to help others. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you do, and that's what I admire about you. And it's the same thing, when this Trasher documentary came out, the first thing I thought of was not how do I elevate myself. It's how do I take this momentum, keep this movement going, but spread it around, help others, and that's what I like what you do. And it's a lot of these guys. It's funny. They act like they don't want to be in the videos. They act like they don't want to, but they do, man. It's funny to watch sometimes.
At first, though, so you gain that trust, and then before you know it, those same guys were like, oh, the guy's here with the cameras. They're picking up the camera. Hey, guys, what's up? Hey, it's John here. Give me a shout out on Instagram. Hey, shout out to my mom. They tell a funny joke. Hey, why the dolphin crossroad? Get to the other tide. Ha, ha, ha. They're so funny. And then everybody's following them on Instagram. And when you're building that camaraderie within the team, and within the locker room, that becomes an element of it, of where's Trav? Where's the cameras?
Yeah.
Right? Everybody gets more positive, right? If I can fill your cup, you're going to be more happy. You're going to fill my cup. And if you're winning, I'm winning. If you and I are both winning, everybody wins.
Yeah. It's true.
But that takes more energy than how can I win? How can I get the most that I can possibly get out of this?
It's true. And again, that's what I say, like, we're going to get a little bit into where you're going to be playing this upcoming season, and I think it's a genius move by this team who signed you. I just feel like you bring a value that is, more than just wins, loss, GAAs or whatever. And, talk to us a little bit about, because, again, you've become a polarizing figure in the hockey world, and, oh, Trav, you suck, and your videos suck, and all this bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But you could play hockey. I mean, at the end of the day, you wouldn't have gotten playing time if you truly sucked. I mean, tell us a little bit about, you said, like, growing up, learning how to play goal. Like, what's your style? Like, what do you consider yourself? Like, your training? Like, what do you describe yourself as a physical goalie?
Big guy, right place, right time. Positioning stops more pucks than anything else. A bit of athleticism, a little bit of battle, a whole lot of compete and a lot of passion, all within a 6'5" frame. It's a winning formula, I think. And I think that the stats, to some degree, do prove that. And I think a lot of people look at the Fed as, you didn't do overly well in the Fed. Well, look at some of the great goalies. I'll just use this as a couple examples. In Mississippi with the Seawolves when I was there, we had Blake Wyrick, U.S. National Development Program goaltender, unreal goalie. That guy had nights where he's giving up 8-10 goals and getting shellacked. He's a great goaltender. Joe Shepard, my boy Shep, another great goaltender. He's getting shellacked too. Like, there are so many goalies that get shellacked in the Fed because there's money in offense. There's $0 in defense. The more goals you score, the better you look. You're getting called up.
Yeah.
Right? The better defense you play, nobody's getting rewarded for that. So goaltenders are on their own island. It's why, my first year in Motor City, you had 3 goalies in the league have above a 900 save percentage. The rest were all below 890s, 880s. But those top 3 are with the top teams in the league, and they are elite level goaltenders. Even Trevor Babin, my boy in Motor City, he was elite. He just got signed in the ECHL, skipped right from the Fed to the ECHL.
Really good goalie.
Best goalie in the Fed the last 2 years, my boy Babs. Brian Wilson in Danbury, that guy is world-class, well-dressed American League games.
Yeah.
Right? There's some seriously talented goalies in the Fed, but using the Fed as the benchmark for you suck is so poor. I went to Vail, show to the Vail Yeti. Me and Diamond Hands both went there.
That's right, yes.
2 goals on 25, 3 goals on 49 shots, right? I played incredibly well, but there's some defensive structure there. Right place, right time, positioning stops more pucks than anything. You put me in that environment, I'm going to succeed. And even in Watertown, the one opportunity they did give me, 2 goals on 12 shots. I had 2 and 11 before they gave me the yank. I don't know what coach pulls somebody after 2 goals, but that was the situation. I'm playing well. Preseason game as well this season. 1 goal on 11 shots, 1 period of play. We don't know what would have happened after that, but I'm giving you the sample size right there. And I'm a gamer, dude. I love battling. Practices are nice, get to refine some certain things, but I love, there's one puck, one moment, the fans are watching, they paid their admission, they paid their $7.50, their $9.50, whatever. Maybe in Motor City, you paid your $40 for one ticket to come in and watch a game. It's time to put on a show. The lights are on. It's showtime.
Well, I agree, and I agree with you. It's so hard. I feel like goalies, especially, because we've had a couple goalies on the podcast, which is interesting. When Amesy was in Fort Wayne, we had Brett Brosh, who's now playing in the American League. It's so tough as a goalie because I feel like you guys, there's just such a there's not a lot of wiggle room for you guys, right? It's like if something goes wrong, it's on you guys. You know what I mean? And not a lot of casual fans are going to sit down and break down the tape and be like, well, hey, listen, coughed up the puck here. No one's in front of the net. How tough is it for you? Because I know you enough by now to know you're a gamer. You're competitive. You want to win. You want to, you put it all out there. How hard is it for you? Because I know you're not the type of guy to blame others, but how hard is it for you to kind of, like you said, kind of get stranded on an island sometimes?
There's 2 aspects to it. So personal accountability and personal responsibility is a huge thing that I believe in. Right? If the second I start blaming things on other people, I lose all my ability to control and to change the situation and to help myself. So I'm a big believer in that. But with goaltending, it's, like I said, it's a catch-22 because the goaltending is the most influential position in hockey, as we know. But at the same time, you need help. Right? If you're getting 5-on-0s all night, you can be the greatest goaltender in the world. You're going to have a hard time stopping pucks. Right?
Yeah.
Now, where does that balance go between, okay, I could have done this better. Is this a consistent play? Is it, listen, they're beating me high glove because I'm dropping my hands, I'm getting lazy, and I'm not making a good read? Or is it they're moving the puck around Harlem Globetrotter style? Our defense is breaking down. We don't spend a lot of time in practice working on the defense. We spend all our time trying to score on 2-on-1s. Where does the responsibility lie?
Yeah.
And does the team see that? Does they not? Well, I know the truth, and I need to do what's best for me and to help the team here. And I need to, in this situation, say, okay, I can do this. I'm going to do my best to fix that, to try to give the team a chance. But at the end of the day, it's everybody coming together. And if we have poor defense, you can only do so much. I mean, it's why if you put Carey Price in his prime on the Toronto Maple Leafs, he's not having great seasons.
It's true. It's a lot of, and you're 100% right. There's so many aspects of what makes a player. You know, there's a lot of great players out there that probably will never win a Stanley Cup or a championship in their, respective sports because it's just sometimes not the right fit. You know what I mean? But let's go a little bit back to the trolls because we were talking about, I think your controversy comes because you do things people hate. You speak your mind, whether you're right, wrong, indifferent. You speak your mind. I have a lot of admiration for that because I feel the same way. And you're not afraid to put yourself out there. And I'm the same way. I'm not afraid to put my face out there. And like when we did this documentary, it was nerve-wracking because it's like we're putting our life out there. You know what I mean? And whether it's good or bad, how many people get the opportunity to put themselves out there? And it takes a lot of balls to do that. You do both. Talk to us a little bit about the trolls because I got to say, we walked in today to this studio. Shout out to our boy Matt Cronin, who owns this studio, and he's one of the producers along with Ian Vick. And first thing he said to me is, wait, you're Trav for Oilers, right? I chirped you. We went back and forth 10, 15 times a few years ago, okay? Your reputation precedes itself. I couldn't have been happier when I heard Matt say that, okay? He's looking for the receipts, obviously. He said it was a few years ago, but I know how I deal with it. But how do you deal with the trolls? I mean, it's easy to, but not a lot of people got, this day and age, people are soft. They can't deal with it. And one thing I like about you is, you're like me, man. It just rolls off your back. Like, is it hard sometimes to deal with it? Because it is a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah. There's comments every now and then, and I was talking about this with Diamond Hands when him and I were doing the podcast a couple weeks ago, but there's a comment every now and then that it's full of bullshit, but there's a little bit of truth in there.
Yeah.
And you read that and you think, ooh, like that one, that stings a little bit. Because you're not fully wrong.
Yeah.
But I try to be very careful how I curate my reality, right? When I think of people that I look up to and that I admire, they're not spending their time on social media chirping somebody. I've never in my life left a comment where I just like shit on somebody for 6 paragraphs and just waited anxiously for their reply.
Yeah.
I'm doing stuff, right? I need to go to the gym. I need to go train. I have videos to edit. I have podcasts to record. I have family time to spend. I have things that I'm doing.
You have a life.
Right? And so somebody that does that is not somebody that I aspire to be like by any means.
Yeah.
And I try to, like I said, I try to curate my circle very carefully because you are some of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so somebody leaving a comment like that, I see it. It's good for business, but I'm not going to really interact with that for the most part because I don't want you penetrating my reality and I don't want to think like you because I don't want to be like you. There's nothing about you that I find inspiring. So I'm just going to like decouple the two.
You told me something before we started recording that I thought was funny. Not in the reason why most people will hear this, but you blocked your mom. Is that correct? Did you block your mom from your YouTube channel?
So I didn't block my mom. My mom is my number one fan. And with all this negativity, she would get in the comments of people and be chirping back, this is my son, how could you say this? And again, I love my mom. But I ended up telling her one day, I'm like, listen, like this is not worth your time. You're going to spend all your day putting out fires, and you're just going to be a firefighter. So I stopped her ability to be able to comment, so she couldn't get in the comment section with people. And I said, please don't look at the comments either, because I don't want to hear about it. Let's just keep things more positive, because these people are the bottom dwellers of the world. They're doing these comments, right? So, like I said, I love my mom, but
moms are the best. My mom would do the same exact thing. You know what I mean? It's that's what moms are there for. What's like? I mean, kind of putting you on the spot, but do you got like a top 3 like favorite troll comments, whether they made you laugh or they pissed you off, or did anybody ever get you? And I'm sure as time gone on, it's gotten easier to deal with, but maybe in the beginning when you're starting to put yourself out there, trying to do something cool and different, and people are probably just trying to shit on you, like, is there any comments that stick out? Do you have like a Mount Rushmore of like trolls or comments that you can think of off the top of your head?
Not really. Not really, to be honest. I totally disregard them. Like if I see a negative comment like your GA is this or you suck, whatever, it's just, all right, I don't even read the comment. I see the first couple words, all right, I'm going to move on. Because I want to be very careful what I allow into my reality. and what I want to penetrate.
I agree with you. I never really read the comments. It's counterproductive, really, and that's a good way to look at it. Is you don't let it penetrate into your mind, and because that's what you become. You become that same person. We talked a little bit about this as well before we started. We talked about a lot before, but you've made some controversial statements. You speak in your mind. See, controversial statements to me is like, I don't ever look at something as controversial. I look at it as a guy speaking his mind. It's his opinion. You got like a top 2 or 3 Mount Rushmore of controversial comments that maybe
like my takes, you mean?
Yeah, like you got like takes that have turned controversial. Like it's just your take, it's your opinion, and somehow, some way, it blew up. Because like even now when I do my content, I do fight reviews, funny reviews. People send me videos all day long. Somehow I become like a reviewer of that, and it's always like the reviews that I don't think are that good that are gonna be all of a sudden like I got 1 million views on TikTok on a lacrosse video. I didn't think it was that good, and somehow did you ever like have a take or an opinion that maybe you thought but maybe you didn't and it just blew up and turned into something else?
Probably that I'd be the best goalie in women's professional hockey, hands down. That one really ruffled some feathers. And I mean, like, look at the climate we're in, right? Where you have these men going to women's sports, men going to women's bathrooms, and they're trying to compete with biological women. And the people that think that that's okay are mentally sick. Like there's something not quite right with them. And so I thought, with that being the climate, I would come out with a hot take that I would be the best goaltender in all of women's professional hockey. I would transition. I'm going to keep my beard. I'm going to keep my good-looking taper and everything. And I'm just going to turn up. I'm going to pull up one day and say, hey, I'd like to have a tryout. Yes, I'm 6'5", 242 pounds right now, and the women for the most part are 5'7", 150. But I'm here to play. And I'm going to compete. I'm going to win the women's Vezina, whatever they call that. And I'm going to take my team to the championship. And also, too, when you compare the tax bracket that you're in playing minor pro in North America for the men, when you're making $250, $300 a week, to the women, where although they want to cry poor me that I'm broke, they're making $50, $70, $100,000 a year, the majority of the team. So I get a huge bump in pay, and I get to be the best goaltender in women's professional hockey. So I turned up with this opinion, simply because we all know that men are physically stronger than women. This is undeniable. And that the top women's teams out there would struggle to compete with the junior B boys team. And people got upset about this. They said, how could you say that?
This was like a year ago, right? You said that?
Yeah, about a year ago, I started really pushing this, which I thought was funny because we would troll people. But also, like, there's a lot of seriousness to this. This is the facts, that men are stronger than women, that if I went into the PWHL, I would dummy. Now, I put it out there. If there are any women in the PWHL goaltending-wise that want to put this to the test, listen, I will happily come out with you. We can do some skating contest, or even some of the best players. We can do some one-on-one stuff, some challenges. But I don't think that they're going to do that because it's a lose-lose for them. If they come out and they do it, and it goes well for them, well, they don't want to be affiliated with my brand because I've already said this. But if they come out and it goes poorly, it proves that I'm right. Now, it's probably going to go that I'm proven right, but nobody wins for them. But for me, it's just good for branding. So, again, if there's anybody in the PWHL that wants to come do this, you're more than welcome to. You can the time and place, as long as it's not during my season, because I do have things to do, and I'm heading over to Europe this season. But yeah, I would hands down.
So was that like a tweet? Was it an Instagram post, or what was that when you did that?
Was that podcast clip that took off? And actually, funny enough, I got to give a shout out to Danbury legend Dylan Kelly. When that started going around, for whatever reason, the repost hockey news media started using pictures of Dylan Kelly. They're like, Travis Rigden says he'd be the best goalie in women's pro hockey, and it was a picture of DK. And then DK messaged me. He's like, I'm getting all this hate. I'm like, yeah, sorry, bud. Sucks to suck, I guess.
Is there an art form to it? Because we've talked about this. We live in a world, obviously, of content, right? It's now I've gotten into the podcast game and content, and it's a lot of work. I used to think it was bullshit when a few years ago, and people were like, oh, it's a full-time job, this social media stuff, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But now as I've gotten into it, it's a lot of work. We live in an era of content, and one of the number one practices is trolling. Would you consider yourself a professional troll in that? I shouldn't call you a troll. I wouldn't call you a troll because trolls are the people in the comments with no face or names and you know what I mean? But there is an art to trolling, right? Like it's part of content now, right? Isn't there like you know what I mean? I wouldn't say I was trolling, but when President Trump got shot, I put him in the Bad Boys Club. I just took a picture of him. I took a hat. I background removed whatever. I think it was like USA flag. And I put a Trasher hat and I put it on there. One, because I just felt like doing it. But the minute I pushed, it's funny. No matter because me, I don't care what people think either. But the minute I was about to push post, right, I got that little rumble in my stomach, like, oh boy, this is gonna go left or right, one or the other. And I really, like, I never worry. I never think about it. I just do it. You know what I mean? I don't consider myself that controversial, but I'm like, I'm going to push this button and what's going to come. Now, it ended up, it worked out in my favor. A lot of people liked it. It became a big, a big post, a content thing. But isn't there an art to controversial or trolling posts or stuff like that? Would you think that's correct?
Yeah, I think if you can emotionally damage your enemy and get them invested, that's good for business, right? Like if I can throw a little comment in here and there that gets somebody really upset, and they're going to keep coming back to comment every single time, that's good for the algorithm, and that's the name of the game in the business. Yeah. And those same people that come back time and time again, like when I got traded from Watertown to Mississippi this year, that for whatever reason was like a really defining moment for like that level of hate, because I've always had these negative nerds leaving comments online. But for whatever reason, the second I got traded and the trade went through and it went public, there was like 1,000 of them that came out of the woodworks. They were sending messages and leaving comments of, this guy sucks, I knew it, they're going to get rid of him soon. I just got traded, dog. I didn't get released. Look at the wire. I got traded. And I didn't get traded for a bus or for a steak dinner or 3 nights at the La Quinta Inn. I got traded for another player and future considerations. It's so funny. Future considerations can be literally, it could be that lampshade, it could be a bus, it could be.
I've always wondered, when I was involved with hockey, I never had a trade that included future considerations. I've always wondered what the hell future considerations is. It's like, you're right.
Anything.
Pumpkin spice latte, possibly, right?
It could be your wife. It could be anything. You know, from Don't Mess with the Zohan, when he's like, I want 6 wives. No. I want 2 wives and yogurt store. No. I want free yogurt when I come to store. Okay. And then they're all celebrating. That's basically what trading in minor pro hockey is like.
Well, listen, we talked about the Bad Boys Club, and I inducted you into the Bad Boys Club on Instagram a few months back, I feel like. And again, when I do that, I don't know, I have dozens. So, we talked about it a little bit before. The Bad Boys Club, if you go to @DBTrashers on Instagram, it's kind of like an Instagram exclusive. I take guys or girls or whoever, it doesn't even have to be a hockey player, people that exude that trasher spirit, okay? It's not necessarily a fighter or a guy who's good at fighting. It could be any controversial figure, underdog, stuff like that. And I remember when it was like, a minor league transaction, we decided we're inducting you into the Bad Boys Club. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I would hear, Rigden this, Rigden that. You see the comments and stuff. I'm like, he's a trasher, man, because he's controversial. He's polarizing. People love to hate him. And I tell you, and I got to I want to fact check after this, but I believe your Bad Boys Club post is arguably top 2 or top 3 most interactions we ever got. I put, usually when I put a Bad Boys Club member in, everyone's like, yeah, he's definitely a trasher. She's definitely a trash. Yeah. It's always like 9 out of 10 positive. Okay. When I put you in the Bad Boys Club, I believe not only did we put you in the Bad Boys Club, we gave you 2 pitchers, I believe, too. Yep. There was 2 pitchers. You were a multi-pitcher. You were a carousel post Bad Boy Club member, which is, I think, the first we've ever had. Dude, instantaneously, what the hell is this? Trav suck. I was like, that's it, man. It was one of the funniest Bad Boys posts we ever put up there. And it's an honor to sit with a Bad Boys Club member. How's it feel to be in the Bad Boys Club?
Dude, it was awesome. That's a legendary picture. Like the best logo in minor pro hockey history. Some of the best color schemes, the all black with Scrappy the trash can. God bless that guy. And then also the ability for your photo editor to Photoshop the pose when I'm coming out for the home opener for the Seawolves, the stick in the air, salute the crowd.
It was perfect.
Lighting, the smoke in the background. It was too bad we couldn't swap out the inflatable Seawolf for a trash can, but that was an iconic photo. It was great.
It was funny. Aren't people funny? Like, I don't look down on anybody. I've always taught everyone's equal. I truly don't look down on anyone because I'm not the smartest guy in the world either, but we talk about trolls. People are really dumb. Because I posted the picture, and then, I'll get people, he never played for the Trashers. He was this age at 22. I'm like, dude, it's a fantasy post. It's not a real post. I posted Ty Domi once, and he never played for the people, no one fact checks anymore, right? And then that's why is he in a Trasher uniform, but that's a Seawolves mascot. It's like, do people baffle you sometimes? Because sometimes I'm just, again, I don't look down on people. I don't think I'm smarter than anyone else. But man, people are just, we live in a society where people don't fact check and they just react, right? People are nuts.
Yeah, nothing gets by you, Doug. Good observation. Ty Domi did not play for the Trashers. Nothing gets by you. You're on top of your game.
Dude, but yeah, your Bad Boys Club carousel post, that was a beauty. People, we're going to have to put that up on the pod when we edit it. People were like, and people loved it too. Yeah, so you are what I call a wrestling heel, okay? Because you get a lot of hate, but you also get some love, and people love to hate you. And I think that's what it is more times than not. Would you say?
I think that when people see the actual message that I'm trying to get out there, they really get behind it. But unless you're able to look yourself in the mirror and actually see that message, you hate it because it reflects back a really, really ugly picture back to you.
Yeah.
But the underlying message is if you work hard and you stay at something for a long enough period of time, you're going to get the door to open eventually. May not be the exact way that you wanted it. Maybe it takes a couple of twists and turns along the way. But if you stick with it long enough, you'll see some success.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like that.
Well, we said it on the car ride here. It's like, sometimes your success is a mirror to somebody who grew up with you, who had similar opportunities and just couldn't hack it. And people, they hate that, man. And
I was telling you this in the car ride too. When you hear people say, "Oh man, you've changed. You're not the same." I'm glad you observed that. That's
yes.
good. I have changed.
That's the point.
I hope that you can stay with me and keep up here, but I am changing. And if you can't stick around, you got to go.
Yeah. It's hard. Success is hard. And first of all, success is subjective, right? Like I come from a world where most people consider success money. Bottom line, you got to have $5 million in your account or you're not. But success to me is making a mark on things, you know what I mean? Making your mark, and it's not always a monetary thing. And
if I could, I think that family is the benchmark for success. You could, if I had $10 million in the bank and no family, I'm the poorest man in this room. But if I had $10 in my account and the best family in the world, I am the richest man in this room.
It's true. I've heard that. I've heard quotes like, there's people out there that could buy anything they want but have nothing in the end. You know what I mean? It's so true. And you're right. Family is pretty much the benchmark of success when it's all said and done, especially later on in life. But, success is funny because, again, I see a lot of young kids today. I own Champs Boxing Club. I deal with a lot of young kids with a lot of potential in life, whether it's in boxing, other sports, or just life in general, want to go to school. And it's tough because you see these young kids struggling, late teens, early 20s, and it's like they're ready to move on, right? They're ready to break out of their shell and do something big. And you could say there's those straggler around them, and it's like success guilt, right? There's a lot of people that suffer from, I got to bring these guys along with me. I got to bring it, I got to stay home. I got to take care of it's tough to see sometimes. And it's like, people get like, it's like oxymoronic. Like people feel like, let me not be successful and just stick here. Just my presence here, obviously, is this person's everything. And I see it all the time. It's sad to watch sometimes. A lot of guys and girls, they don't break that cycle.
I look at it from the perspective of the more I can give to myself, the more I can give back.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'll just use like family as an example. If I can get myself into great shape, I can command myself as the leader here. I can take people other places, right? Like if I'm 300 pounds and overweight, there's no way that I'm going to be able to get my mom to be inspired to go do something better for her life or to get my woman to, right? Like if you want to be the man, you got to be the leader. You have to look like the man. You have to think like the man. You have to look like the man. You got to be the man. And looking like the man is such an important part. Like society tells you nowadays, oh, don't judge people. Do it within the first 0.2 seconds of you looking at me. You made an assessment of me, and I
absolutely
made it, right? And this whole idea of, oh, don't be judged. Don't judge other people.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I say it all the time. We all prejudge. Prejudice isn't racism to me. Prejudice is exactly. The minute I see someone, first thing I said when I saw you in person, that's a tall motherfucker right there. You know what I mean? Like I judge you. You know what I mean? Like everyone judges everybody. It's so true.
Well, it comes from the caveman days of like back in the day, you had to assess if somebody was a threat. So the second you laid eyes on me, you had to establish, is this guy going to be a problem? Can he hurt my family? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Now it comes back into the 2024 version of, okay, is this guy somebody trustable? Is this good energy? Is he a scumbag? Right? It goes so many different ways.
Yeah.
But if I can't put myself in a position to lead my family, to lead myself, how can I lead my family? How can I lead the people that follow me? I can't lead anybody.
Yeah.
And the more that I can give to myself, the better shape I can be and the more successful I can be, the more money I can accumulate in resources, I can give that to my family and the people that I love. And if you have a problem with that along the way, then you got to go because you're not a part of the people that I want to take care of.
It's true. I feel like the mid-20s, I'm 38 years old now. You're still a spring chicken over here, but I'm pushing 40. And what I've noticed is like the 20s, your mid-20s are tough because it's like, we talked about it. Guys are, you grow up with people and they're your friends by default because geographically you grew up here and you're going to be friendly with kids you go to school with. And it's tough when people start to separate. Some guys don't know how to navigate those waters and you're right. You got to do more for yourself. You could do more. That's a quote right there for sure. And speaking of guys, we talked about love to hate, fans love to hate this and that. Our boy, Mr. Diamond Hands, Daniel Amesbury. We got to put a link in the description. You guys had an in-person studio interview last week. I think you put it out. Where were you guys, in Vancouver? Where were you guys?
Vancouver, the Vancouver Lookout. Yeah, I called in a favor last minute. Diamond Hands text me day before, as per usual. Hey, I'm going to be in town. You want to do that podcast still? I said, yep. If you can confirm when you're going to be here, I will set something up. He gave me a time. I hit up the Lookout, showed up to the Vancouver Lookout. If you go to Vancouver, you have to check out the Lookout. And I called in a favor. They said, yep, come in after hours. We'll give you the spot for 2 hours on the house and let you record your podcast in one of the nicest spots in the city. And you'll see in the vlog coming up where I have some behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Diamond Hands was, oh, my God, look at this. This is so cool. You can see this. He was loving the whole thing. But, yeah, we did a really cool.
No, it was a great episode you guys had. We'll put the link in the description. I mean, Amesy is, another guy that if he's not in your team sweater, you hate him, right? And then the minute because now he's signed with the Kansas City Mavericks in the coast, so proud of him. But I remember he played against KC last year and people hated him. Oh, this guy's a disgrace to hockey, all this stuff, right? And as soon as he signed, all of a sudden everybody but that's just how it is, right? I mean, that's the beauty of sports is you love to hate people sometimes. And, and you two I knew would hit it off. You know what I mean? And
even though he told me, or he said in your podcast before he wanted to punch me in the face, which I haven't forgot about.
Oh, yeah. And I said, why? That's my guy. Travis is my guy. And I think that's his,
That's how he says he loves you.
Listen, this is 2024. There's something I hear called love language. I think that's his love language. If he wants to punch you in the beak, I think that's his way of saying he cares about you. Would you say that's you've dealt with him now. I think that's his love language, right?
Yeah, hey man, I love you. Let me give you a good one right in the jaw.
He is an absolute beauty, man. He is just like a brother. And so, I mean, you talk about, and like I said, I put my promoter hat and GM hat on. Could you imagine later in life, you and Diamond Hands on the same team? That to me that's must-see TV, I think.
Wouldn't that be a combination, though? If he's playing defense back there, he's getting close to the crease, and we're just chatting up there the entire time. He's having his fights, I'm doing my vlog, man. That's
double mic'd up video would be pretty insane, right?
If I had to make a prediction, it'd probably be with the Veil Yeti when him and I are both done.
Oh, I would love that. Shout out to the Veil Yeti. I remember when he went out there, I wanted to go down when he played, and I couldn't. It's just crazy all the time. And
what do you think of my conspiracy theory about them scrapping the video because he was huffing and puffing the whole time?
Who was?
Ames. So when they did the mic'd up video, we talked about this in the podcast that him and I did, but so they got the mic'd up stuff with me, which turned out great.
Oh, yeah.
And they told me that when Amesbury was there, that he was just huffing and puffing the entire time, and all you heard was him breathing. You couldn't hear any actual audio or anything.
No, I don't believe that. I do not believe that at all. You see, there you go trolling again. You're looking for a hot take. I am not going against Mr. Diamond Hands, and he's in phenomenal shape right now. He is looking like an Adonis, and he is not going to be huffing and puffing. I do not believe that. Were you huffing and puffing out there?
I absolutely was. Man, that altitude sickness gets you. When you're playing at 10,000 feet.
No, I agree with you, man. The USA Boxing national team trains in Colorado Springs, and one of our fighters out of here in Danbury, Ali, who's now professional, trained over there. I used to think the altitude thing was, not saying it was a myth, but, a little exaggerated. Ali, who doesn't complain about a thing, and by the way, we have an episode with Ali Fleas in our library. Go back and check it out. He was just like, AJ, it was hell up in those mountains, man. And that altitude, it really, so it affected you too, I'm assuming then.
Dude, I remember feeling like after the first and second period in the game against the Breckenridge Vipers, I felt like my nose was going to just like explode and like come off. I felt like this like pressure in my head, like somebody was taking a pickaxe to the side of my head. And it's just the pressure from the Rocky Mountain altitude, but it's no joke. It really isn't.
No, Ames was telling me, and Ames, who works like a dog. I mean, another guy who doesn't complain about training. I remember him telling me, man, it is no joke over there. And I know he said before the season starts, he wanted to try to get another weekend over there just to kind of give himself an edge before camp. But talk to us a little bit about, so you announced recently, and again, you guys got to subscribe, Slanging the Biscuit podcast with Trav here. You're going to Spain. You're playing in Spain. How did that come about? Like, where did this come from? Was this on your radar like a year ago? You remind me a lot like Ames because you never know where you're going to end. It's almost like you could end up wherever at any time. And I think it's a great opportunity for you out there.
Well, it kind of started with this season in the Fed, where it seemed like no matter where I was going to go, that the powers that be were not going to give me an opportunity to play. And unfortunately, in the European system, once the season starts, if they haven't acquired your rights, it's really hard to get in.
Yeah.
And especially when you're getting released in December, around the Christmas break, when rosters are getting finalized, man, you're really, really, really hard-pressed to find something outside of North America. Haven't played many games in the Fed, so I can't really jump up to the SP. As far as the Fed goes, the same guy owns 3/4 of the league, so that's not going to happen. So where are we going to go? Well, opportunity in Spain presented itself where I'm going to be able to play majority of the games.
Yeah.
Go to a beautiful place where, like in Mississippi, I love coming to the rink every day where we're on the beach, where it's nice, there's no snow, come in shorts and a t-shirt every day. Obviously, there's no beaches in Spain, but I'm excited. It's going to be a new travel schedule, new league, new style of play. The road trips to Barcelona are going to be awesome.
Oh man, you're gonna have content galore. We talked about that. That's gonna be amazing to watch.
The cool thing too, we talked about this on the way here, is you have questions. I didn't know they had pro hockey in Spain. What's the league like? What's the living situation like? These are all questions that I had myself too, because before my agent Nick presented me with this offer, I said, they have pro hockey in Spain. He said, yeah. They have about 8 teams in the league. It's going to be great. It's a great level of hockey, just like the Fed. So I'm learning as I'm going. So are you. But the beauty of it is that because I'm documented in video format, plus with the awesome drone shots, to kind of paint the picture of Lograno, Spain, I get to take you along with me.
Yeah.
And we get to do this all together. We get to learn and travel and do it together.
It's amazing. And like I said, we're going to put in the description. You guys got to follow along Trav, his socials, his podcasts, his vlogs. You know, after hockey, man, is it a media thing for you? What are you looking to do? Because you got the voice, okay?
Thank you.
There it is right there. You got like a media, like you got it, right? There's an it factor. You got the look, you got the voice. Like, and I'm not saying when hockey ends for you, but whenever that time comes, what's next for you? Have you thought about that? I think it's a hard question. I don't know. It's hard sometimes, but what's your thoughts?
Absolutely. I put a lot of thought into this over the last couple of years. So hockey only has so much time. I mean, I just got a second redone hip. So I have both my hips done. I got a couple years left to playing hockey. When that comes to an end, the podcast will continue as is, which has done very well, Sling the Biscuit, obviously.
Yep.
I've been trying to work on this travel vlog series, documenting the railway hotels in Canada's history this summer as kind of my in to storytelling, which half of the videos have actually taken off and hit the algorithm, which is great. And I'm hoping that'll open up some more doors post-retirement of, hey, here's a dude who's just not this fat nerd traveling around eating hot dogs at hotels. Here's a guy who's in shape. He's traveling. He played pro sports. This is something different that the travel scene hasn't seen before. And be able to take my mom or my chick or like the people that I care about that I love the most on these experiences. That's another thing. And then also I just signed with an influencing agency out of Toronto, so they're helping with brand deals to maximize every dollar for the Instagram, for the TikTok, for YouTube, etc. And using that as a benchmark to get myself out of YouTube and podcasting, whether that's in I know we talked about it before. Maybe I don't want to give away too much just in case certain powers at B are watching, because you got to be careful what you say in Canada these days. But to take that out and have those kind of turn into a more full-time investment, shall we say, without saying too much.
What do you say to a kid who's watching and, you know, because I always ask guests, especially hockey guys or girls, like, you know, what's your tip to an athlete? What's your tip to someone, maybe a young kid that maybe it seems impossible sometimes? Like everyone has their platform. What do you say to a young kid that's messing around with his camera or trying to start a podcast? Do you have any advice for those kids? You know, is it a consistency thing? What would you say to them?
Help other people and provide value. If you don't provide value to other people, nobody's going to buy into your brand, into your story. It's a difficult line to get to, where I'm at the point where like there's sponsors to satisfy. Because obviously this is my full-time thing. You got to pay the bills. But also, how do you deliver value to the people so they keep coming back? If you deliver as much value as you possibly can on a full-time basis, people will come back because they're getting it for free. And maybe they pick up a pair of Sheath underwear, or they pick up this sponsor, that sponsor, whatever it is along the way. But deliver value. There's a couple of people that come to mind. I don't want to drop names for this point in time. But when everything you post is about yourself and you're not giving any value to anybody else outside of trying to pick up your own brand or trying to make money, there's nothing respectable about that. And there's nothing that's going to make somebody buy into your brand. And that's the beauty of vlogging compared to TikTok or Instagram. People are their brains are fried with TikTok brain. But in the long form stuff, you have the ability to make that impact. And if you're not adding value to give the people, giving them lessons, giving them experience, giving them knowledge, whether it's, hey, try this hack with your stick because it's going to help you make more blocker saves, or hey, this is what I found really helped me, embracing this mentality of everything is a challenge and everything is an opportunity. For example, So when I flew in 2 days ago, my flight got canceled out of Toronto, coming from Toronto Pearson to LaGuardia. So I had to stay in Toronto for an extra day. And I thought, here's a great opportunity to get a free hotel, because thank you, Air Canada, and spend some time with some people that I haven't seen in a bit. Okay, great. I'm going to do that. Then the next day I fly from Toronto to LaGuardia. They lose my bags. I think, oh, well, this sucks. But guess what? Now I got to wait 3 to 4 hours for my bags to come.
Yeah.
I came in. It was cloudy and raining in New York. And then when I left, it was sunny and beautiful. So there's another opportunity. I get an opportunity to call my mom, tell her I love her. I get an opportunity to call my chick, an opportunity to catch up on work. All these amazing opportunities. And even today, again, shout out to you for hooking me up with at the Quality Inn here in Danbury. I was going to go to the gym, try to get a pump, try to look a little bit more firmer for the podcast. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm walking down the hallway, I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Do I want to do some mobility, some shoulders? Do I want to pump? What do I want to do? And I pulled up, and there's only 5 machines, 3 of which are broken. And I said, great, they've already pre-selected what I'm going to do today. I can only do so many things. So using it as an opportunity, what can I do to get the best out of this? And what's a good challenge? What's respectable? Because the worst thing that you can possibly do is just be the same and never, ever change.
Yeah.
How do I get something that I haven't done? How do I accomplish something that I've never done? I'm very accomplishment focused. That's what really turns my crank, and how can I achieve certain things? So I'll use this for example, the railway hotels thing. I'm going to go stay at this hotel that I haven't stayed. I'm going to conquer that. I'm going to make the video. I'm going to conquer that video, and then move on to the next piece. How can I conquer this workout? How can I conquer this league, this team? What kind of accomplishments can I build to make myself feel more respect worthy? Because to earn your own respect is the hardest respect to earn. And if you can earn that, sky's the limit with other people.
You just hit it on the head. I was discussing this with someone recently at the gym. I've learned not almost 38 years is half the time we're trying to win ourselves over, right? Half the time we're trying to impress ourselves. I used to think I was trying to impress others or trying to make other people happy or proud, which I do in a sense, but you're right, man. A lot of times it's just conquering your own, like being able to look in the mirror and be happy. Like, hey, you know what? I'm a good guy. I'm doing the right things. And I think Diamond Hands talks about all the time, the mindset power, the mental is and you have a very strong, you're very mentally strong, which I think is another thing that's going to take you far. What's your goals in hockey? You said you got a few years left. Who knows? That few years could turn into a lot of years. You have any like long-term goals or things you want to hit?
I want to play at the highest level possible for as long as possible. I just love the challenge of hockey, right? In the minor pro ranks, the traveling, the conquering new leagues, conquering new countries, conquering like that type of stuff. Yeah. That turns my crank. So going to Spain and going to the Barcelonas and doing that type of stuff, that's stuff that I like. So if I could do that in a Denmark or a Norway, or maybe came back to North America and did it in the SPHL at some point when I got the numbers up and my agent can broker a nice little deal over there. I would love to go down to Pensacola, go go south on the beach. That'd be really, really nice. But
I think we're gonna see you in North America. I mean, look, I don't have a crystal ball, but I don't know. I feel like life works in funny ways, and we don't have to discuss it here. I mean, you discuss a lot of.
I mean, we can talk about it if you want.
Well, listen, let's drive them to your channel, and we're gonna put a link in the description to your episode on why you feel probably you can't get into the Federal Hockey League right now. I think we need to give your channel, that due. So let's put a link in, and you guys gotta go head over right after this episode and watch that episode on his channel. But
well, could I get into the Fed? Potentially, but will I continue to spin my tires in the mud? Yes. So why not take myself somewhere else where I can actually get some momentum going, play some games, and create some really cool videos where I'm not going through the same issues where team signs me, team trades me, team promises the world, they under-deliver on everything, and now I'm telling the viewers of the show, hey, they told me this, but they did something different. I want to actually deliver to them as well. And to take that selfishness of wanting to prove the owners and the other management wrong, and say, okay, what's good for my career and what's good for the people that actually care about me and that I want to help. So going to Europe is that. For the time being, I've closed the chapter on the Fed. That's gone. It's not going to come back anytime soon. Like you said, could it come back again? Yeah, I'm open to it if the right opportunity presented itself. But what's been going on in the last 2 years, I don't want to do that anymore, because that's not fun for anybody, and it's a waste of time for everyone.
Yeah. Me and Ames, we've talked about it ad nauseum. Okay, he obviously was playing here in Danbury in the Federal Hockey League, and he unfortunately is allegedly banned for life right now. We don't know.
Possibly, potentially, maybe. Who knows?
You don't know. And listen, I've had some things to say in the past, but I think I say a lot about the Federal Hockey League out of frustration, because I, believe it or not, see the potential of that league. And it reminds me so much of when we had the Trashers and the things we were accomplishing. And if you watch the documentary, the old commissioner, Richard Brissell, said, we made the league better. And there's ways to do that. I'm not saying it's got to be a 3-ring circus every game, but the Federal Hockey League to me has so much potential. It's scary, and it's frustrating. So sometimes you get mad at things out of, man, you're wasting a lot of potential. So who knows? I mean, I'd love to see you in Danbury one day. I feel like you are tailor-made to be a Danbury hockey guy. I think the fans would love you. And again, like I said, no matter where you land, I know you're going to end up in North America again. Wherever you land, the value you're bringing, aside from on the ice, everything that comes with it, it's a no-brainer to me. But what the hell do I know? I'm just I'm a podcast guy now, so I don't know shit about hockey, I guess, or anything. But
well, like you said though, I can play. I can bring people to the rink, put asses and seats and dollars in the bank account, and add to the room. But as much as, and we share that same mutual love for the Fed of like, there's so much potential. They could be so successful, and we could have every single arena packed, not just in Motor City where they have dressed like a seat night. Even the seats don't want to be there. We could actually have some success here.
Yeah.
But if the people that are in charge, the gatekeepers, don't care and don't want to listen, you got to let them sink at some point. I saw a comment the other day for the podcast with Diamond Hands and I. Somebody said, "Oh, attendance was at an all-time high after you and Diamond Hand, like Trav and Diamond Hands, were gone." And those attendance numbers, those are about as real as Kim Kardashian.
That's like
they're so fake.
Bro. That's yeah. I mean, but listen, there's people that got to tell themselves that, and that's fine. But yeah, man, we'll see how it shakes. You know,
I wish them well. I hope that they can figure it out, because they do have a good product.
Like I said, they're sitting so pretty if you think about it. You know what it is? My dad always taught me, I've heard this quote maybe 1,000 times growing up. My dad would say, AJ, if you're a pizza maker, stick to making pizza. If you know who you are and you know what your ceiling is, okay, don't try to, listen, everybody doesn't want to feel like they're relegated to, this is my ceiling, this is all I'm going to get to. But life is being realistic. I knew my sophomore year of high school, I'm not going to the NHL. I knew then, I'm like, you know what? Good shot I'm not making the New Jersey Devils. Not going to happen. It's the kids that think that, and it's one thing to think and dream and want to have those high hopes, but there's the people that really believe it, and you got your parents fighting your battles for you with the coaches. My son's not getting ice time. Listen, when you know what you are, it makes things so much easier. There are leagues that are only going to be that caliber league. You are not going to be the final destination. Your job is to, like, I don't know, I could go off on a tangent about it. I mean, I know if I owned the league or if I was a commissioner, I know how I would brand it. And a lot of people think it would be like Fight League or the XHL. It wouldn't be like that. But there's entertainment. People are plunking. Listen, these are blue-collar cities that these leagues are in, okay? People are spending rent money to watch your product. You got to give them more than... And the 3 stars of the game are Travis Rigden, Daniel Amesbury, and Joe Blow. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be something else. I have faith that it could turn around, but
if you're going to take it to the next level, do you have an actionable plan? Not just this hypothetical sky-high dream of, I'm going to play in the NHL or we're going to do this. Do you have an actual plan how you're going to take it there? And if you don't, well, then it literally is a pipe
I
dream.
agree, and I'm a planner my whole life, and it's one of those things where you know, if you fail to prepare, you be prepared to fail, and we'll see where it shakes out. But there's a lot of leagues. I mean, I don't want to always sound like I'm shitting on the Fed. There's a lot of leagues I see that, man, there could be so much here. It's just, it is what it is. But
I look forward to bringing some positivity over to Spain and taking all those ideas.
Listen, we are going to be following you. We're going to be talking about you. I mean, we're going to be doing a lot more during hockey season in general. We're definitely going to have to keep people posted with you. Guys, we're going to put the links in the description. Make sure you're following Trav, podcast, vlog. He's doing it all, okay? He is the caffeine freak. He became Trash Daddy after we put him in the Bad Boys Club. You have a lot of MOs and a lot of... a lot of nicknames, man, and it's an honor to have you here. I know it's a long time in the making, and it's gonna be fun watching you. I think you're gonna have a big time year. You got anything else you want to shout out before we head out here?
No, I would want to say thank you for having me on, dude. It's been a long time coming. I remember the first time you mentioned me in the podcast, because I knew about the documentary. I'd obviously never seen it.
Yeah.
But when you mentioned me, I thought, okay, now I really can't watch the documentary because I want to watch it with AJ, which hopefully we'll get to do tomorrow sometime. But no, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it as always. Shout out to Diamond Hands for coming and doing the interview on Sling the Biscuit a couple weeks ago.
It's slinging the biscuit. I keep saying slaying the biscuit. Why I keep saying slaying the biscuit, I don't know. But it's slinging the biscuit, guys, okay?
So I intentionally spelt it wrong when we made the podcast because I wanted people to say, okay, it's spelled a certain way, but he says it another way, and people would just start talking about, is it slang and is it slinging?
So you are a troll. You're a professional troll in a way.
Exactly right there. And slanging, like letter-wise, looks cooler than slinging.
So what are we calling it? Slinging or slanging? How do you say it?
You can call it whatever you want. Slinging the biscuit.
Slanging the biscuit. All right, we're going to put a link in the description. Make sure you guys are subscribing. Travis always, like you say, bringing value. He's putting a lot out there. You guys got to check him out. Also, again, guys, shout out to my guys at SOFLO. Hit them up on Instagram. I'm going to put a link in. They're selling the jerseys. You can hit them up. I got to be honest. They told me exactly where to get them. I think it's, let me look here.
Men's League sweaters.
Men's League sweaters. I think you can get it from them. We'll put the links in. Make sure you guys hit it. You know, these jerseys are fire. I think, you know, we live in the world of content. You and Diamond Hands on the same team in SOFLO next summer, okay? We got to talk with Nico Blashman or Cherameta or my boy, the Codfather, they call him, Cole Codsey. So shout out to the guys at SOFLO. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you giving our boy Trav some love, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening, everybody.